Hello, I have my hot coffee. The babies are sleeping, taking a nap. The 3 boys are out back with dad. Let's see how far into this voiceover I can get without being interrupted. The journal that I will be working in this year is the Archer and Olive journal. It has 192 pages, so we'll see how far into the year it actually takes me. Last year I was working with the Hobonichi and I had like 500 pages and I filled the majority of it. I am so excited to have this. I've seen so many reviews on this journal and I have been dying. It's super substantial, thick pages. It is 160 GSM, which means it's thick paper, if you care, but you're probably not here for that. This is not an Archer and Olive review. Let's get back to what I'm doing. So basically this is my setup for my journal, and how I'll be using it this year is pretty much how I've been using it this last year is memory keeping, but I'm also going to be adding a little bit of planning into it, but not like everyday planner. The style is going to be more like writing my memory verse down for the day, planning kind of like the week ahead, but the majority of it is going to be memory keeping. I like to kind of write down at the end of the day, sit down and really reflect, or just jot down like, this baby did this kid did this was hilarious. You know, they say you better write it down because you'll forget. I've been really trying to take that this last year, especially with just all of the chaos and the lockdown. You know, it feels like the days blur together. And so being able to look back on the days, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right, that happened. Or which day did that happen on? It's been really nice to just kind of jot down a couple sentences at the end of the day. Last year at the beginning of the year, I did one little word, which is where you just pick one word for the year to focus on. And I chose adapt. Oh my gosh, by golly, was there lots of adapting to become adjusted to new conditions. I was speaking more in the fact of my mothering, going from 3 children to 5, and adjusting my sleep patterns and my physical appearance and life with new babies. And yeah, ended up adapting to a whole new lifestyle and way of life with coronation. So that was quite the adapting. So this year I chose not to pick a one little word. I chose to pick a memory verse. The verse is out of Isaiah 43, and it talks about rivers in the desert and how God is going to make new in a wasteland. So here we are doing a landscape, and I should have done time lapse because this video was originally like an hour and a half video that I chopped down to like 3 minutes or something like that. So lesson learned. When I was little, we had a TV, and it was maybe like 2-3 channels out in the middle of nowhere. The TV was in the middle of nowhere with us. We were also in the middle of nowhere. It's not like the TV was just chilling out in the yard. That sounded weird. Anyways, so I used to watch Bob Ross all the time, that painter with the really funny fluffy hair who always had like little animals in his pocket, like squirrels and stuff. So I used to watch him like growing up forever. Well, my sister, being a big sister and playing jokes on her little sister, decided to tell me that Bob Ross was a robot. I was devastated because I thought one day I was going to be like this guy who painted and was amazing and had little, you know, friends, animal friends. And I was like, what do you mean he's a robot? She's like, yeah, he's a robot. So I grew up thinking that Bob Ross was a robot. Obviously, later in life, I came to find out that he wasn't. And therefore, I was like, oh my gosh, I love him all over again. And it's possible I can be Bob Ross. Still far away from being Bob Ross, but landscapes definitely influenced from Bob Ross. Love that guy. So if you've ever watched him, he's like famous for the expression happy little trees, or because he's always like, oh, let's just put a tree here, or this is a happy little tree, or this is your world, and you know, it's like super imaginative and fun. So here I am painting trees, thinking about my big sister just picking on me. But he's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend. It's also on my bucket list to do like a paint night, but with Bob Ross as our instructor, not some random instructor. Definitely want to do a paint night with the family. that should happen, especially with being on all these stay-at-home orders. I feel like that's definitely something that can take place easily, although we are very blessed. My husband is still working. So although Bob Ross does not paint with watercolor, that is what I'm doing here. But all of those images that he had on his paintings growing up definitely influenced me. So I'm just finishing up the water here, making it some dark areas. With watercolor, you just need to build up. You start with your lightest and you work to your darkest. And acrylics is opposite. You start with your darkest and work to your lightest. So this took many layers, which is really cool because this paper took it good. I'm okay with a wrinkly paper. Some people are not. I like wrinkly pages and I like the feel and the sound. And yeah, this is just me taking the time to make sure everything's dark enough and have some highlights, add some grass, add some low lights, you know, all that stuff that makes it look like it's actually coming off the page. I'm definitely ready for a new year. This year has been an amazing year full of so many blessings, but 2021, it's going to bring about some fun times. The babies will turn a year, and it's a little more active and it's a little less demanding on the sleep front. I'm getting some more sleep these days, so that's always nice. But let's be real, I clearly cannot remember how to spell remember for this coming year. So maybe I should take a refreshing course on spelling. So we'll fix that later, but let me read the verse to you. So it is Isaiah 43:18-19. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? It will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. I thought that was so perfect for 2021. Clearly we had these old things and we just do not want to focus on, and having God remind us that it's okay not to focus on the past. Like, let's look forward and let's look at the new thing that he's doing. And it is important for us to look for it and reflect on it and to pray about it and to seek him in those new things. Oh, look, there I am realizing that I spelled remember wrong. What the heck am I gonna do? I literally could not figure out any way to save this, so I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna put it on top. Just let it be a reminder that I need to learn how to spell remember. And then I just scribble it out aggressively. You know, that's the fun thing about art, is it's just the eye in the beholder, right? Just but for real, here is my 2021 verse of the year instead of one little word for the year. Much better focus, and I'm done adapting. So this page, this spread is for my favorite picture of the month. So what I'll do is after the month happens, I'll go through my phone, I'll be like, this one's number one, and then I'll print it off on my sweet new little printer that my mother-in-law got me for Christmas. And I will put it down. And the camera paper is actually a sticker, so I don't even have to like glue it in like I was doing all last year. I just peel the back and stick it on. This page right here, as you can see sketched at the top, it says block schedule. This is done by Jordan Page, actually. It's a block schedule. She's a mother of 8, a mother of 5, so she's definitely got a few up on me. But essentially what it is I used this last year. I watched her YouTube video on it. It was a game changer for like my day-to-day stuff. Instead of planning like hour to hour or like worrying about like which day or this, that, and the other, basically all you do is you put it into blocks. So it's 3-hour blocks. A couple of my blocks are not 3 hours, but for the most part, and then you can adjust it like however. So in each block, here is a example of my one last year, and each block you do it according to like your life. So in the morning, wake up, get dressed, you know, throw in a load of laundry. Yeah, right. Well, but we'll see. Okay, good intentions, right? And then everything you need to do in that morning, if it's not done, then you just go to the next one, and then the outing. So then you just focus on that outing. If it's grocery shopping, if it's going to the park, oh, that's right, we can't go to the park because we're in California. If we're walking around the block or something. And then nap time, I like to use nap time for either art or resting or playing with my big guys. That's kind of what we do there. Lunch is definitely listed on the outing. It's not like I just skip lunch. It's just within that 3-hour block, you aim for lunch during that time. And then on there I have unplug, and those are unplugging from social media. So it's during those times, which typically when I'm in the nursery during the bedtime hours, I do like sit in the rocking chair and I'm on my phone. I'll be real honest with you with that. But during those hours, I try to be unplugged. You know, during nap time, the big guys, they might want to watch a movie. I might want to just like scroll my feed, but typically I just use it for art. So it's really good. I highly suggest that you check out that block schedule if you're just kind of needing a little bit of structure, but you want it to be loose. It's definitely something that you can be productive with, but not with like extreme parameters. All right, I do hear one baby awake in the monitor, so they're just kind of singing. I think it's Mr. Bo. We'll see how long this lasts. I can milk it up a little bit, but I always forget everybody's birthday. I'm getting better with remembering months, but there's a lot of birthdays to remember. So I wanted to be able to just look back and write new ones down and really just, remember so I can be polite, because I've been off Facebook a lot, and Facebook was always like how I kept track of everybody's birthdays, but I'm not really on it anymore, so it's hard to when you get on 3 days later, you're like, oh, so and so had a birthday 3 days ago. You're like, fantastic, So I decided to add some mommies with their babies and a baby cub, because it's a birthday, and birthdays symbolize you being born and new life and all that cute stuff. So I found this deer and this bear and the gorgeous fox in the left. I was not able to fit it on this page. I'm going to put it in a couple pages. It's absolutely gorgeous. So these little birthdays. And then I can just jot it down and I can remember and I can flip back and I can not have to rely on Facebook to remind me whose birthday it's this month. Oh my gosh, here I am as fast as I possibly can during a nap time. That's why the lighting has changed. I'm going as fast as I possibly can. Get this painting done. No, I'm just kidding. I switched to a time lapse because that last painting was so meticulous to break down into all of that. I don't know why I didn't think of a time lapse sooner. So here is my time lapse of me painting the moons. This is going to be my period tracker, so I can just color in the little square and I can kind of keep a better idea of, when all that stuff happens. There is some bleeding from the ink on the other side, so I get real dark up in that top corner. And it actually bled through pretty good. But, I'm okay with learning the paper. This is my first time having this journal. I'm totally okay with these kind of things happening. It kind of forces you outside of your comfort zone, because when you have a mistake, then you're like, oh my gosh, I have got to figure out how to fix this. I always save wrappers from like my favorite food, and in the memory keeping I just stick it in there, and it always looks really random. And this year I just didn't like how I would have like this day with this random wrapper, and I decided I'm just going to have a page or two where I can stick in my favorite goodies from the year and call it a day. So here we are, good eats with some s'mores. As I promised, the beautiful fox is going to be used. And here is the gorgeous fox with the baby. I think a baby fox is called a kit. Alexa, what is a baby fox called?
A young fox is called a cub, a kid or a pup.
Oh, kid. A cub, kid, or...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Turn off. Anyways, here is a spread that I'm going to write down ideas. Idea dump. It is what it is. You literally just write down some scribbles. It's a brainstorm page, if you will, where writers begin their process. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm beginning processes. And the fox is just so beautiful. I had to dedicate a page to it. So what not a better way of a fox reflecting of her sleepless night with her newborn baby. I have lived her life quite a few times. She's super gorgeous. You guys made it through the whole setup. Oh my word. Thank you so much. Both babies are awake and my coffee is gone. The boys are in the kitchen laughing, being silly. We have made it. Here is a final flip through of all of the pages for the setup. I loved the way it turned out. I loved the use of all the outdoor themes, and it'll be fun to keep it updated through the year. Thanks so much for listening to me ramble and sharing some stories from childhood and just seeing where my 2 feet are off to this year. And let's focus on the positive, because there is so much that we can be grateful for and thankful for.